Music by bensound.com. Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode number 29. George Karl hates Melo and Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith. It's almost trade season in the NBA. And also, we're going to grade the Knicks on the first quarter of their NBA season. Coming up on Knicks Home Court. Now, before I get into Knicks news, actually the first thing I'm going to do is I want to play this clip of Kenyon Martin on the show with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. I think it's called Undisputed, for his comments that were made about him. Then there's going to be a clip following that with Melo addressing the George Karl situation.
Yes,
Were you surprised when you saw what George Karl wrote about you?
Absolutely. I've been home minding my business. I've been enjoying retirement.
I just had a problem with what he said about the lack of father not being in your life, because that's lazy. That's very stereotypical, because there are a lot of people that are not successful that didn't have fathers. There are a lot of people that's successful that had fathers. And for him to say that's the reason, and that's you don't know. And so I just thought it was really lazy and stereotypical of him. And that's the problem. But I don't know George Karl. I was in Denver when he was coaching some, but I don't know him. But I thought that was wrong for him to say what he said.
And for me, it's, like I said, it's very personal, because in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, it's what it is. Like, you taking a shot at my mom.
Right.
Like, you taking a shot at the way she raised me.
Correct.
And other single mothers out there, you taking a shot at them. Not only me and Melo, but other single mothers that I turned out well. My mother was my mother and my father. You know, so for you to say that, like, you disrespecting her. So I'm here to stand up for her. Right. You know, it ain't like, I'm gonna be fine, but you don't say that I was fathered and that's why I act like this and making this money and AAU babies. Like, no, I know, I'm none of that. I'm a grown man and I address situations as they are. So I'm here to defend my mother in that aspect. Like I said before, I haven't thought about George Karl. George Karl is not a part of my everyday life. Right. You know, I have children to raise. I have responsibilities going on that don't require the NBA or George Karl. Right. You know, but for him to go out and attack Melo in the way he did, and myself and JR. So you tell me what it is. He spoke on me and Melo not having fathers growing up. In the same breath, you go say JR's fathers, they're too much. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Do you want us to have a father? Do you not want us to? Like, which one is it?
Right.
Like, so you can't. I don't get it.
When you're there, it's just a different story, than what you hear after the fact. You know, I never knew it was this much. I never knew I was I don't know, what's the word, conundrum? I don't even know what the hell that means, to be honest with you. So I never knew that. You know, that never was kind of brought up. You know, anybody that you ask, assistant coaches, players, front office people, anybody you ask, I'll tell you. Sing a different tune when it comes to me and when it comes to kind of our mentality on that team.
And that was Carmelo Anthony. Again, it was Kenyon Martin and Carmelo Anthony speaking on or responding to George Karl's explosive book, I might as well call it that, and personal attacks on those two guys. You know, man, there's so much on this topic, and I'm not even going to spend too much time on it because George Karl is irrelevant at this point. Let me just start by saying that. The thing that's disappointing is these coaches are always getting paid off of these athletes. When they're amateurs, when they're pros, then they write books. You know, George Karl, look, criticize Melo all you want on the basketball court. I mean, that's what he does for a living. Criticize him for that. Could you imagine if you had a boss who maybe things didn't work out at the job, and he said, oh, it didn't work out because you weren't a man, because you didn't have a father. After you probably told him that you didn't have a father in your life? Because I'm sure, I mean, they probably had discussions. You see, it's one thing to criticize someone constructively and try to help them. It's another thing to criticize and to break them down. And even worse, to criticize someone to sell a book for profit. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. That's some crazy shit you doing, dog. Going to talk about Carmelo's father, as was reported, died when Carmelo was 2. He died of cancer, which probably is a very soft spot for that man. And as far as I see it, as Kenyon Martin said, Carmelo's mother has done a really good job. He might have had some issues young in his life. Who didn't at 19, 20, 21, 22? Come on. But look at Melo now. He's calling out for social justice. He's building basketball courts in Brooklyn and going to Puerto Rico and purchasing soccer teams and doing things over there for those people and putting a basketball court over there. Really? That's not man shit? That's not grown up? That's not grown up what he's doing? He's not being a man now? Raising his son? Being a good husband? Regardless of whatever rumors you have, they're still together. I'm sorry, regardless of what rumors you might have heard, they're still together, him and Lala. So I'm going to take it as he's being a good husband as well. But George Karl, no players speak up for you. No one speaks up for George Karl. No one says, oh, he's a good guy, he's just misunderstood. Even Skip Bayless himself said George is the biggest diva in the room. And you're a coach. So I'm not with the personal attacks on people, man. That's just cold-blooded. That's just not right. You know, there's a lot of things that go on. You'd be surprised. A lot of these players confide in these coaches. The next thing close to a father you will have if you play sports, and anybody who plays sports know, the next close thing you'll have to a father is your coach. Even when you have a father. Even when you have a father, your coach is your second father. If you don't have a father, your coach is like your first father. Look at LeBron James, whose single mom raised him, but also allowed him to go live with one of his coaches until she got herself together. That coach was like a father figure. So, you know, to criticize Melo, do you understand? Melo came from Baltimore. He came from the streets of Baltimore. He grew up in the era where it was crazy in Baltimore. Before that, he came from Brooklyn where it was crazy. The man has never been arrested for anything as far as since he's been in the NBA. He won a national championship in college. And, you know, I hear people saying, oh, well, Melo, he probably is a selfish player. It shows how good Jim Boeheim is as a coach. And I'm like, get out of here with that. That man's been coaching Syracuse and had some great teams and did not win his first national championship until Carmelo, the freshman, got there. So just miss me with that. I'm not here to defend Melo. But when you take personal shots at people, come on. And when you, speaking even when it comes to basketball, when you are not looking at the entire picture, yeah, Melo's not a great defender. So is Larry Bird. Larry Bird's never known as a great defender. Magic Johnson's never been known as a great defender. Come on. If you look at the top players in the history of basketball, they all have been elite offensive players. And some of them, like Michael Jordan, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, are great two-way players. Or there can be one-dimensional defensive player, and the only one I can think of is Bill Russell that's in the top 10. So, you know, it just I know you're trying to sell your book. I know that's what you're trying to do. But damn, man, that's cold throwing people under the bus like that, especially a personal attack like that. Even calling Melo a user is not good. It's a personal attack. It's messed up. But when you mention people's family, come on, dog, you crossing the line. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about as far as the Knicks news. I normally don't play clips that long, but I had to play it because it basically says it all. So now I'm going to move on to the next thing I'd like to talk about, which is the NBA news. In this special edition, I didn't say that in the beginning. This is the Christmas edition. So after you open up your gifts and after you exchange Christmas hugs and prayers and things like that, you can listen to this podcast because I know no one else is doing the Knicks podcast on Christmas Eve, but I am. Anyway, so in the NBA news, trading season is coming. It's here. So this year, every year everybody wonders and gets all excited. Is it going to be a flurry of trades? Is it not going to be trades? What's going to happen? None of us know, to be honest. I mean, it's true. None of us know what's going to happen this season or any season when it comes to trades. However, you can sit and make deductions. You can look at certain teams that'll be looking to make trades is usually underachieving teams that might want to get from under a new contract. I would say like a player like, for example, Serge Ibaka. He's on Orlando. I'm not saying he's going to be traded, but he's going to be a free agent next year. And do you want to give Serge Ibaka $20 million? I don't think he's a $20 million player. I know the salary cap's up. Well, based on the salary cap, yeah, he's a $20 million player, but do you want to pay him that if you're Orlando and you're not a good team? As opposed to the Knicks, who have Derrick Rose, where a lot of people think the Knicks shouldn't re-sign him. But, you know, I can make a strong case for re-signing someone like Derrick Rose for the simple fact is he helps make you a playoff team. Serge Ibaka, you can do just what the Magic are doing right now, they could do without Serge Ibaka. They're a bad team. They could be a bad team without Serge Ibaka. So anyway, what other teams might be looking to make a trade? Houston might be looking to make a trade because they're playing well. Maybe they want to make a move and that can put them over the top and give them a chance to become a real contender in the West. I mean, they're a good team right now. They might even win 50 games, but nobody considers them elite as far as championship is concerned, even though James Harden is having an MVP-like season. Another team to pay attention to is Portland. Portland Trailblazers. They signed Allen Crabbe, and they're underachieving. I don't really think they're underachieving. I think that the league has caught up to them. I told you, this is the NBA. That's why I don't anoint teams after one good season or players after one good season. The league adjusts, and then you have to adjust back. So Portland, they're struggling now. Now they just have to rise to another level. But if they feel like that's not going to happen, they just signed Allen Crabbe to a boatload of money. I think it might have been $72 million. I'm not going to look it up. It was just a lot of money for a guy who's never even averaged 10 points in his career. And then another team, Tyler Johnson, Miami Heat. You know, they might be looking to move Tyler Johnson or Goran Dragic. I always get his name wrong. Dragic. That's a funny name. Anyway, you know, they might be looking to move him. Who knows? I don't think DeMarcus Cousins will be on the move. I don't think Sacramento will trade him. I think it will be foolish to trade him, especially when everybody thinks they might trade him. It'll just be foolish. He's a franchise player that needs some veterans around him, and they just have not done a good job. You know, I was hearing that Orlando, I spoke of Orlando earlier, but I was hearing actually Orlando may be looking to move Alfred Payton or Vucevic. And you know, this troubles me because, you know, they looked like a team that was building something. When they had Oladipo and Vucevic was looking like he was about to become an all-star. He was playing very well. He had a nice chemistry with Oladipo. Let me tell you something, folks. Building an NBA team is not easy, but I always believe you have to accumulate talent and the best players you have. Screw a system, screw everything. Build the best talent base. It allows for trades, and sometimes you can turn that around. The perfect way to build, there's no perfect way, but let's look at Utah. Utah been struggling for years, but they got one good piece. Now I'm not going to go in order. They got one good piece in Gordon Hayward, another good piece in Rodney Hood. Remember they got Derek Favors from the Nets, who's turning into a good piece, or who is a good piece. Rudy Gobert, another good piece. That's how you build a team. You just keep putting good players together, and you keep them together. There's no quick fix to this, unless that's one way to do it. You know, there's free agency, there's a mix of both, but pay attention to what Utah is doing. Now they're a good team. They're actually a really good team. And George Hill hasn't really played. He hasn't played yet. Now he's about to play. But anyway, so the teams you look for that may be doing trades is teams that are underachieving, or teams that want to get over the hump, or teams that might realize early into the contract that, you know what, we shouldn't have gave this guy all this money. Now in Miami's end, they might not get rid of Tyler Johnson because he's the young guy. They might try to get rid of Goran Dragic, which makes sense. They're not a contender. They're not even close to being a contender. It might be a team out there that might need him, or might be able to use him. So just keep your eye on that. And in the coming weeks, I'll talk more in depth about possible trades and stuff like that. But now we're going to move on to the Knicks topic of the week. I'm going to grade the Knicks on the first quarter of the season. This shouldn't take too long. I want to start with the people who are lower on the totem pole. Sasha, Baker, Indoor, and Plumlee. I'm going to give them a C. I'm going to give them a C for staying ready. Indoor played earlier in the season. Plumlee played a little bit. Sasha played. Baker played recently. And I'm going to give them a C, and I can't give them much higher because, you know, you also have to have a lot of talent also. But I'm going to give them a C for staying ready and being professional. That is very important, that you have professional basketball players on your team. Players that don't sulk when they don't play, and players that stay ready when it's time to play. So kudos to those four guys. You know, I think Baker has a future in this league. Not as a star, but as a good role player off the bench, possibly. We'll see. We'll see what happens from one year to the next. He can really be good, or he could be Landry Fields, who looks good and then ends up being nobody. We'll see. So now we're going to get into players that play a little bit more. We're going to start with the Kuzminskis. I'm going to give him a C+ for the first quarter of the season, and that's because I think he played well in spurts and in spots. I think he's definitely a rotation player in this league. You know, capable of putting up some nice numbers. Only giving him a C+ because he's still learning the game. He's still learning the NBA game. You know, the pace of it, the speed, the defense. But he's shown some flashes. So look for him going forward. He was a really good pickup. Second half of the season, you might see more of the same. I don't know if he can move up to a B, but he's a good guy to have as your 9th, your 10th guy or whatever. He's a good guy. Lance Thomas. I'm going to give Lance Thomas a D. I'm going to give him a D grade. The reason why I'm going to give him a D grade is because he hasn't really been healthy. And early in the season when he was playing, he really didn't play that well, maybe because he wasn't healthy. But I'm sorry, I can't judge you unless you don't play. If you play, I got to judge you on what I see. And I saw little sparks when he came back, but it seems like he's going to have this nagging injury throughout the season. It seems like he's going to be kind of in and out of the rotation most of the season. Yes, he hurt his foot. I always have trouble pronouncing what it's called. It's plantar something. I'm just not going to say it. But anyway, he hurt his foot, and he's going to be in and out of the lineup for most of the season. We'll see what becomes of it. When he's playing well, he's a strong C+, B- player. But right now, I got to give him a D grade. Justin Holiday. I said Holiday? Justin Holiday. Well, I'm going to give him a B+. And I only gave him a B+ because I think he can be even better than that. I mean, I want to give him an A, but I'm going to give him a B+. He's been great. He's filled in. He's played some really great D. He's in the rotation. He's played smart. He might find a home here. He's hit the three every now and then. He's been a little off, but he's good off the dribble. He moves well without the ball. I'm really impressed with Justin Holiday. I am really impressed and happy and satisfied with him. Let's go to Brandon Jennings. When the season started, everybody was saying that he could be sixth man of the year. I mean, it's still possible. I'm going to give him a B+. Again, I think he should be able to make it up to an A, but right now he's a B+. And that's because the one problem I've been having with him is sometimes he doesn't score when he should. Like, he'll have a layup and pass it out for a three. A little small complaint. But he's really suited for that second unit. That is his niche. He can be a backup point guard for a championship type team. That's where I think he belongs. I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's a starter no more in the league. Because you know what? I've seen it. Eventually, when you're a point guard, you have to be a threat sometimes too. You can't just be a decoy all the time. And when you're starting and teams get more, when they get more of him, they realize this guy's not really scoring. So they start playing his pass. You saw when Derrick Rose was out, we missed him. We missed that dimension. So, I'm going to give him a B+. I think he can make it up to an A. I think he's played very well. I'm telling you right now, I hope we can bring him back for the cheap. It ain't going to be $5 million, though. I'll let you know that. Joakim Noah. I'm going to give him a D. I'm going to give him a D grade. He just hasn't really played well. He's played well a few games. The thing about Joakim Noah is you want him to be at least a strong C+ throughout the season. And then when the Knicks get to the playoffs, make it up to a strong B+. He could be an X factor in many series. Now, one thing I like about Joakim Noah, I have seen, sometimes he guards, the more established centers for little short spurts and does a good job. I'm not going to talk about his money and the signing and thing. Right now, he's a D. Right now, he's a D grade. He needs to get better. He needs to try more on offense. I know he might miss a shot here and there, but early in the quarter, he needs to try to become a threat, or he really shouldn't be on the floor. Because I remember when we used to play the Bulls, and when he was there and he was younger, he would be a threat. You leave him open, he's shooting that weird jump shot and hitting it consistently and hitting his free throws. He was somebody you had to guard, or at least not leave so open. It's one thing a guy that can't shoot, it's another guy that won't shoot. And when teams know you won't shoot, they won't guard you. Courtney Lee. In my opinion, I'm going to give Courtney Lee a C-. In my opinion, Courtney Lee has been a disappointment thus far. He's had games where he looks really good. Now, I'm not expecting 17 points a game from him. I'm not. I'm just expecting consistency. And what I've been seeing from him is inconsistency. I don't care if he averages 10 points a night. That's 10 points we can count on. Sometimes he goes for 13, sometimes he goes for 4. Can't be that way. He has to be consistent. He's playing really good, consistent defense. He's been healthy for the most part. But I need more from Courtney Lee, especially being that he's in the first year of his contract. Everybody talks about Noah, but Courtney Lee quietly has not had a really great start to his Knicks career. Derrick Rose. We're going to give him a strong B+. For many reasons. First off, he looks like Derrick Rose. I told people, if you listen to my earlier podcast when I talked about Derrick Rose, I said that he still can be a star in this league. He's just not going to be dunking on people. Long as he can get to his spots and hit that mid-range jump shot, hit that floater, I think Derrick Rose can be a star in this league still. I'm going to give Kristaps Porzingis a strong B+. We know he's going to have many years at A+. Kristaps Porzingis will have many years at A+, but right now he's a B+. You know, he's hit lulls during the season. This is his first season where he's literally counted on for big things and big minutes. So he's adjusting to the pace in the NBA game and things like that. He's adjusting to his body. He's adjusting to all the time he's getting on the court. You know, last year he averaged, I think, 28 to 29 points. 28 to 29 minutes a game. Now he's up around 35 minutes a game, something like that. 36 minutes a game. So, you know, he's going to have his moments where his legs are tired. And also, too, you're going to see another thing from Kristaps is other players on other teams are going to start trying to intimidate him. But I told you early on, Kristaps Porzingis is a dog. Dude is not afraid. And why should he be? He's bigger than everybody on the court. How you going to punk me? I'm bigger than you. Don't get me wrong, you can be punked when you're bigger than somebody, but he's not a punk. Trust me. And he's not afraid to be great. And that's important. And he is one of the driving forces for the Knicks for their record that they have right now. And last but not least, Carmelo Anthony. I'm going to give him a B. Yes, I gave Kristaps a higher grade. I gave Derrick Rose a higher grade. Melo's still their most important player. Because Kristaps still doesn't know how to carry the load. He can do it for spurts. But again, like I said, it's different when you're the second or third guy or the main guy. Melo's the main guy. Kristaps have been double teamed maybe about, a handful of times this season. Melo gets double teamed multiple times a game. And still manages to score and get his. Now, the thing that makes me happy is that I expect Melo to move up to an A. I expect Melo to be Melo. I expect Melo to be more consistent in his play. I expect Carmelo to be Carmelo Anthony. He's always been. Because at the end of the day, remember, I said in the beginning of the year, this is all about Carmelo. Surrounding him with the talent to win. Now, if Melo plays at the Carmelo level that we know he can play at, I'm not saying 27, 28 points a game. I'm talking about at least an efficient 24 to 25 points a game that we know he can do. I would like to see him play more Euro Melo ball, as some people call it, spotting up. Because the spot up shooter, he's lethal. I want to see less one-on-one play because that kind of exposes Melo's, it kind of exposes his age. He's not as quick as he used to be. You want to limit those and get more in Melo. Stay over there. We know where you at. You hit Melo for a wide open shot. Dude is one of the most lethal shooters in the history of the game. And he makes the Knicks most dangerous. Because when Melo is being Melo, When your whole team have to pay attention to Melo, and you got Kristaps and Derrick Rose on the other side, man, that's lethal. Just pick your poison. When Derrick Rose got it going and Kristaps got it going and Melo is being Melo, because see, that's how great Melo is. Say what you want about Melo, but remember, when they say Melo's being Melo, Carmelo's being Carmelo, and that means he's being really good or great on offense, that says a lot. So those are my grades for the first quarter. Let's hope that we can get the grades up. Let's get some more A's in there. Let's get a winning streak. I'm looking for the Knicks to possibly, in the month of January, possibly go 10 games over 500. This is what I'm looking for. They have to start to establish themselves as one of the better teams in the league, as well as the Eastern Conference. But this brings us to the end of Knicks Home Court, episode number 29. I want to wish everyone a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Everyone enjoy their day, and let's go Knicks. Peace.